Dr. S.K. Patra. I have retired from BJB Autonomous College. So, I welcome you all. We will discuss about today the topic is evolution. So, first we must know what is evolution, the definition of evolution. The term evolution literally means the process of a slow and gradual change. The process of slow and gradual change. It has been stated that nothing is constant in this world except constant change. So, only change is constant, nothing is constant, only the change is constant, because the environment is going on change. Changes in the plants and animals through time is described as organic evolution or biological evolution. So, changes in plants and animals, that is described as organic evolution or biological evolution, and changes occurring in the non-living world constitute inorganic evolution. Inorganic evolution or cosmic evolution, that is also known as cosmic evolution. Darwin defined the term of the organic evolution as the descent with modification. So, this was the definition according to Darwin, descent with modification. He suggested that the existing plants and animals are modified descendants of somewhat different plants and animals. So, they are the modified descendants of somewhat different plants and animals, and which lived in the past, and they are known as ancestors, purvaja, ancestors. These ancestors are thought to be the modified ancestors, descendants of their predecessors. So, they have their predecessors. So, present existing plants and animals, they have ancestors, and ancestors are modified descendants of predecessors. So, this was the view or definition given by Darwin. Now, we will discuss about origin of life. Origin of life. The living organisms include the plants, animals, and microbes, microorganisms. So, they are the living organisms, the plants, animals, and microorganisms. The common inherent property of all is life. So, they have the common inherent property, all the plants, animals and microorganisms, that is the life. So to know about the origin of life, we have to analyze the circumstantial evidence, because we don't have any other evidence. जमिति कि समस्त निश्चय जानिथिबे जोठी किछि गोटे धर मर्डर केस होउची, पुलिस जाइकी बा किछि सेमिति रेकॉर्डिंग हेनी केही देखि नाती, सेठी जो सर्कमस्टांशियल एविडेंस निया जाउची, सेमिति ओरिजिन ऑफ लाइफ जो हेछि, वी डोंट हैव एनी एविडेंस, only there is circumstantial evidence. So we will discuss about those evidences. Now geologists have detected the presence of carbonates in the rocks formed 3.9 billion years ago. 3.9 billion years ago. They argue that these carbonates have been formed by life processes. The origin of life definitely that is about 3.9 billion years ago. Secondly, oldest fossils obtained so far are the microfossils of photosynthetic cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria, which appeared 3.3 to 3.5 billion years ago. The fossils 3.3 to 3.5 billion years ago. So that was the period of origin of life, from which period life originated. So first we must discuss about the origin of earth, then there will be origin of life. So first, origin of earth. There are many theories. Number one is Big Bang theory, that is Big Bang theory. This theory holds that there was one mass of gaseous material. Expanding through space. So one mass of gaseous material expanding through space ever since. An explosion occurred. In the gaseous mass, explosion occurred, resulting in the creation of universe, that is the solar system, entire universe, at a single instant. This was a thermonuclear explosion. This was a thermonuclear explosion that is known as Big Bang. Thermonuclear explosion or Big Bang that occurred about 15 billion years ago. That occurred about 15 billion years ago. Then steady state theory. Steady state theory. According to this theory, alternate transformations of energy into mass and mass into energy. Energy into mass, energy is transferred into mass, mass is transformed into energy. So this is known as alternate transformations have been occurring. It is likely that all the planets that is our solar system, originated at a time. So originated at a time, entire universe or our solar system. After formation of the earth, the oceans and atmosphere might have developed. So after the formation of the earth, first earth was formed, then the occurrence of oceans and atmosphere occurred. Then hypothesis regarding the origin of earth. So these are the two theories. Then we will go to hypothesis regarding origin of earth. Number one, the nebular hypothesis. Nebular hypothesis, that is also known as star hypothesis. Nebular hypothesis or star hypothesis. Kant and Laplace advocated the origin of planets from a single star. All the planets, they have originated from a single star, that is the sun. So nebular hypothesis means single star. From single star, that is the sun. From that all the planets have been originated. According to this theory, a greatly diffused spherical cloud of gas, that is called a nebula, extended up to the outermost planet. So from the sun, single star, the gaseous cloud of gas extended up to the outermost planet. The cloud rotated slowly. The solar nebula, that is known as the solar nebula, started to collapse. So that started to collapse under the force of its own gravity. Then it became a flattened spinning disk of atoms. Spinning disk of atoms and particles. So atoms and particles, spinning disk. The central area heated up to become a star. That is the present day sun. The central area that became the sun. The particles orbiting the center, then aggregated into several masses or clumps. So this is the sun, then here the particles, they aggregated into clumps like this. These clumps finally swept up all particles, into them and ultimately formed the planets. So this is the sun. Now these are the planets. A comparable minor processes operating in case of several planets accounts for the formation of satellites. So here similar processes occurred around planets and they became the satellites. These are the satellites. of each planet. Then the planetesimal hypothesis. Planetesimal hypothesis, or that is known as two-star hypothesis. Two-star hypothesis. So that is, nebular hypothesis is single star. This is two-star hypothesis. Chamberlain and Moulton explained the origin of planets by a near collision between the sun and another star which disrupted it. Suppose this is the sun and there is another star. This is the sun, it's another star. There is a collision which disrupted the sun. According to this hypothesis, another star, when passed very close to sun, suppose here very close to sun, the huge tidal bulges developed on two opposite sides. Here bulges occurred on two opposite sides. Huge two tidal bulges developed on two opposite sides of sun, and the explosive force drove them out. Explosive force then drove them out. In different directions as bolts of gas, which ultimately formed the planets. So here two stars are involved. That is known as planetesimal hypothesis. So this is about the origin of Earth. Then modern concept of origin of life. Modern concept of origin of life. According to Haeckel, the most primitive organisms would have been generated spontaneously at some time from some inorganic matter. The most primitive organisms would have been generated spontaneously from some inorganic matter as a result of formative action of some spatial external physical factors. Spatial external physical factors. Formative action of these factors, the most primitive living organisms would have generated from the inorganic substances or inorganic matter. And what are these spatial external physical factors? These factors are the electric charges, UV rays, means ultraviolet rays, and corpuscular radiations. Corpuscular radiations of radioactive elements. So these are the three physical factors: the electric charges, UV rays, and corpuscular radiations of radioactive elements. The present concept has divided the entire process into chemical and biological evolution. So there is first is chemical evolution, second one is biological evolution. First, chemical evolution. Chemical evolution. Oparin Halden Oparin-Halden hypothesis, that is abiogenic or chemical evolution, proposed by Oparin-Halden, that is abiogenic or chemical evolution. A.I. Oparin (1894 to 1980), that was his period, a Russian biochemist, and J.B.S. Halden, (1892 to 1964), a British scientist, provided experimental evidence in favor of Haeckel's hypothesis. Now, what was the initial condition of the earth? Initial condition of earth. Initially, the earth was a fiery spinning ball of hot gases. Fiery means jolanta, fiery spinning, guruthaba, fiery spinning ball of hot gases of various elements. That was the initial condition. So initially the earth was like this. These gaseous mass condensed into molten core. These gaseous mass condensed into a molten core under the influence of cold of cosmic space. This might have taken hundreds of millions of years. So then condensation occurred in the core. This must have taken hundreds of millions of years. Different elements got stratified according to their density. जार डेनसीटी बहुत अधिका से पूरा सेंटर, जार मध्यम मझिरे रहिले, जोड़ा पूरा लाइट सरफेस रे रहिबे. So according to their density stratification occurred. So different elements got stratified according to their density. The lightest elements like helium, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen and carbon. These are the lightest elements. Helium, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon and oxygen, etc. formed the surface of the earth because they were the lightest elements. Sab butaru haluka, lightest elements. So they formed the surface of the earth. Then synthesis of simple compounds. synthesis of simple compounds. Due to high temperature, that is, at the initial period, the temperature was very high, 5000 to 6000 degrees centigrade. So, due to high temperature of the earth, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and carbon combined with each other, forming saturated forms such as methane, that is formed by combination of carbon and hydrogen, methane, then ammonia, water and cyanamide. So, these compounds were formed due to the combination between carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen. So, methane, ammonia, water and cyanamide. Since the early earth had more reducing atmosphere, that was the reducing atmosphere, free oxygen was virtually absent. So, that is very important point. Free oxygen was totally absent during that period because it was a reducing atmosphere. This is because, why the free oxygen was absent? This is because the reduced substances like uranite, pyrite, etc. in the sediments must have combined immediately with oxygen. They must have combined immediately with oxygen to form oxides. That's why there was no free oxygen and it was reducing atmosphere. Today's atmosphere is a oxidizing atmosphere. So, very important point you must remember that initially it was a reducing atmosphere and present atmosphere is a oxidizing atmosphere. Since there was no ozone, O3, ozone was not formed. Since there was no ozone, you know, which absorbs the UV rays of sun, there is a ozone layer. So, that during that period there was no ozone, absorption of UV radiations was also not possible. So, that must have reached the surface of the earth. The early formed compounds existed in gaseous state and water as superheated steam. So, the gaseous state of water was superheated steam because of high temperature. Temperature was very high. So, all these compounds were in gaseous state and water was in the form of superheated steam. With time, temperature gradually came down. कमी गला temperature gradually. Temperature gradually came down, during which some gases turned into liquids and some liquids into solids. So, gases into liquids, liquids into solids. We can take the example here, the steam condensed into water and fell as rain. When it condensed into water, there was rainfall, fell as rain. Immediately, the raindrops return to the atmosphere. How? The raindrops return to the atmosphere as vapor due to the superheated earth surface. जो rainfall है water droplet जितेबाला earth surface को touch कला, earth surface temperature was very high, so immediately that turned into vapor and vapor returned to the atmosphere. So, due to superheated earth surface, this cycle was repeated for millions of years. This cycle means the vapor condensed in water, then water, there was rainfall, and when the rainwater touches the surface of the earth, it changed into vapor and returned to the surface. The cycle continued for millions of years. This cycle was repeated for millions of years, which accelerated the cooling process of the earth. Earth was cooling process of the earth. ଯେମିତିକି ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ ଅତି ଗରମ जिनस अच्छी जब आम पा पकईदबा से पानी भेपर होगी पलैव से कि ठंडा हो सो कूलिंग प्रोसेस was accelerated. The earth surface became cool enough to hold water and formed pools and oceans. So holding capacity, it holds water and oceans and pools were formed. Because of cloud formation in the sky, there must have been lightning and thunderstorm. बिजुली घड़घड़ी निश्चय मारी थब से समय जेहेतु क्लाउड फॉर्मेशन होइछि. Rain resulted in erosion of rocks. जो रॉक सब फॉर्मेशन होता सॉलिड से गुड़ाक सब धोई हो जाइथिबो. So rain resulted in erosion of rocks and washing of minerals, those which are present in the rocks, washing of minerals such as for example chlorides and phosphates into oceans. Atmospheric ammonia and methane, so these compounds which are present in the atmosphere, ammonia and methane, got dissolved in rainwater and washed down to the ocean. So they also reached the ocean. Halden described the oceanic water as hot dilute soup. Hot dilute soup means the sea water was very hot and all the substances they were present in that is called as a soup. So hot dilute soup. So Halden described the oceanic water as hot dilute soup because of the presence of methane, ammonia, salts, minerals, etc. in it, in the sea water. So it was called as hot dilute soup. Then synthesis of organic compounds. Synthesis of organic compounds. Due to unique bonding property of carbon, because the carbon has a unique bonding property, both saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons were formed, which reacted with steam to form their oxy and hydroxy derivatives. So oxy and hydroxy derivatives. These early formed molecules underwent condensation, polymerization, oxidation and reduction. So these early formed molecules underwent condensation, polymerization, then oxidation and reduction to form more and more complex molecules. To form more and more complex molecules such as simple sugars, amino acids, purines, pyrimidines, fatty acids, etc. These were the compounds which are formed because of condensation, polymerization, oxidation, reduction. So complex molecules were formed. The available sources of energy for these reactions, ये जो formation है reaction द्वारा जो नुआ compound formation होची तापाई energy दरकार. So what was the source of that energy? The available sources of energy for these reactions were ultraviolet light, UV rays, ultraviolet light solar radiation, then lightning, that is the electrical discharges, intense dry heat, that is volcanic activities, and radiations, means radioactive decay of various elements. These were the available sources of energy. The organic molecules accumulated in the oceanic water. These organic molecules accumulated in the oceanic water because there was no free oxygen which would have oxidized them, and there was no microbe which would have degenerated them by enzymatic catalysis. ତେଣୁ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଅର୍ଗାନିକ୍ ମଲିକ୍ୟୁଲ୍ କମ୍ପାଉଣ୍ଡ ଫର୍ମେସନ୍ ହେଲା ସେଗୁଡ଼ାକ ଆକ୍ୟୁମୁଲେଟେଡ଼ ହେଇକି ରହିଲା ସି ୱାଟରରେ ଦୀର୍ଘ ଦିନ ଧରି, ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଲା ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆଜିକାଲି ଯଦି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ଯେ ଯଦି କିଛି ଜିନିଷ ଆମେ କରିକି ରଖିଦେଉଛେ ସକାଳୁ ରାତି ବେଳକୁ ସେଗୁଡ଼ାକ ଖଟା ହେଇଯାଉଛି କି ପଚି ଯାଉଛି, ନଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଉଛି। କ'ଣ ପାଇଁ? ବିକଜ୍ ଦେର୍ ଇଜ୍ oxygen which can oxidize them and there are microbes which decay them. Kintu se period re there was no oxygen, no microorganisms. So these chemical compounds accumulated, organic compounds accumulated in the sea water. Then Miller's experiment. So this was the Miller's experiment. Since L. Miller, a biochemist, was the student of Harlotte C. Urey, an astronomer, Miller and Urey first accorded the experimental evidence in favor of Oparin Halden's view on the formation of precursors of life. Miller, 1953, stimulated the primeval earth conditions in a closed chamber. A high frequency spark by tungsten electrodes was discharged. Constantly circulating mixture of methane, ammonia and hydrogen. You can see here this was a mixture of methane, ammonia and hydrogen. This was the electrodes to produce spark. During experiment, steam was supplied. Here there is water and here this is source of heat. So steam is supplied from the boiling water. The steam thus formed condensed to water. So this steam which was formed, here it condensed to water. So this is known as condensation. Condensed to water and flowed back to the boiling water flask. So it flows back. So this is the direction, like this, back to the boiling water flask. After 18 days, the resulting fluid collected in U tube. Here this was the U tube and the resulting fluid was collected from the collected in U tube and a flask was analyzed and found to be considered of various amino acids. So here various amino acids were present in the U tube and the flask, such as glycine, alanine, aspartic acid, etc. So various amino acids like glycine, alanine and aspartic acid, etc. In the experiment, electric spark, here this electrodes which produce spark, electric spark is equivalent to lightning. Condensation and collection of aqueous solution is equivalent to, here condensation and accumulation is equivalent to rain, because steam is converted to water again. So rain. And aqueous solution to Halden's soup. This solution is Halden soup. Later on, many scientists repeated Miller's experiment, but with different compounds. So here specific compounds were methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and other scientists they took different compounds and did the same experiment. So later on many scientists repeated Miller's experiment but with different compounds and UV radiation. So instead of this electric spark, they used UV radiations or other energy sources and could produce nitrogen bases and amino acids related compounds, amino acids and other related compounds. Then synthesis of complex organic macromolecules. Synthesis of complex organic macromolecules, these are known as biomacromolecules. Biomacromolecules, complex molecules. In the hot dilute soup, the simple organic compounds underwent condensation and polymerization. So in the hot dilute soup, various compounds were present. They underwent condensation and polymerization to form new molecules of increasing size and complexity. Increasing size increased and became more complex. These complex molecules include polysaccharides, which are the polymers of simple sugars. Polysaccharides, these are the polymers of sugar molecules. Then proteins, these are the polymers of amino acids. Then fats, nucleosides and nucleotides, and nucleic acids, these are the polymers of nucleotides. So these complex molecules of increasing size were formed in the soup. Some proteins functioned as catalysts which accelerate the chemical processes. Catalysts. So some proteins functioned as catalysts. These are known as the primitive enzymes which accelerated various synthetic processes. Not all proteins, some proteins, they functioned as primitive enzymes to accelerate the chemical processes, synthetic processes. Thus, formation of a protein molecule can be considered as a landmark in the origin of life. As a landmark in the origin of life, the formation of protein molecule. Formation of nucleic acid was another significant event. Formation of nucleic acid was another significant event. Both carbohydrates and fats being source of energy, these are the source of energy, carbohydrates and fats being the source of energy, formed good building materials of the cell. Good building materials of the cell. The complex macromolecules further combined with each other. These complex macromolecules, they again combined with each other, with one another in various ways. For example, the nucleic acids combined with proteins to form nucleoproteins. To form nucleoproteins, which marked the borderline between living and non-living. So protein is the landmark in the origin of life, considered as a landmark, and the nucleoprotein, it is marked as the borderline between the living and non-living. Living and non-living. Then that is about the chemical evolution, then biological evolution. Biological evolution. In the next page, the prebiotic molecules. Prebiotic molecules means biological polymers must have aggregated with other compounds to form isolated droplets of increasing complexity. These aggregates are called protobionts. These aggregates are called protobionts, means the fast living substance, that is protobiont, fast living substance with different combinations of molecules, from the surrounding medium. They must have maintained an internal environment, and without reproducing capacity. They didn't have reproducing capacity. These protobionts can be categorized into two groups, the microspheres and quaservates. So, two categorized microspheres and quaservates. First, microspheres. Sidney Fox, 1950, observed that proteinoids have remarkable tendency to form microspheres of 2 micrometer diameter. Hot concentrated solutions of proteinoids when cooled slowly, the hot concentrated solution of proteinoids when cooled slowly in water from microspheres with two-layered boundary resembling a membrane. Two-layered boundary resembling a membrane. So, hot concentrated solution of proteinoids when cooled slowly. गोटे छोट उदाहरण मध्य आम नहीं परिबा जदि गोटाए क्षीर को लेकिन आम फुटे दबा तापर ताको ठंडा करदे देखा तापर गोटे सर बसी जाउछि. So it is just like that. So it is a membrane. So hot concentrated solutions of proteinoids when cooled slowly in water from microspheres with two-layered boundary resembling membrane. So if lipids are present, they form a lipid bilayer comparable to the cell membrane. Lipid bilayer if lipids are present. So microspheres swell or shrink. They will swell or shrink in response to change in salt concentration in the medium. In the medium, if there is change in salt concentration, either they will swell or shrink. They absorb more and more proteinoids. These microspheres, they absorb more and more proteinoids from the solution when allowed to stand for several weeks. They also produce buds and sometimes divide. So sometimes they will divide and they also produce buds. In spite of this, microspheres should not be considered to be the ancestors of life, although they form buds or they divide. So in spite of this, microspheres should not be considered to be the ancestors of life. They simply reflect self-organizing properties of chemical systems. Then quaservates. Oparin proposed another method of aggregation of prebiotic molecules. If protein and polysaccharide are mixed in water and shaked, quaservate drops are formed. These are quaservate drops are formed, and here if they are shaked. These quaservate drops show several properties relevant to the origin of life. They show different properties relevant to the origin of life. These show simple form of metabolism but cannot reproduce. Simply, they show simple form of metabolism but cannot reproduce. If coacervates are prepared so as to contain enzyme molecules within them, coacervate enzyme molecules are present, they can absorb substrates, catalyze a reaction and let the products diffuse back into the solution. So, if enzymes are present, they will absorb some substances, then there will be chemical process changes, then there will be formation of products and the products are released. Then origin of primary organisms.